it doesn't revolve around these weirdos' positions. And I know they had all the catchphrases going out, just pulling out as many stops as they could to try to prevent ACB, if you will, from being confirmed. But the catchphrases are none of that wouldn't work. She was sworn in as well by a black man, which is hilarious enough that you have a female being confirmed by a black man, or more so sworn in by a black man. And the Democrats aren't really happy. Ain't that something? But she was confirmed as to be expected. But I want to more so dwell on this right here, mainly because when it came to the whole packing of the court, right? We talked about this on the Blaze. I talked about this many times on the news and why it matters. Joe Biden's absolute refusal to honestly answer the question. He acts as if doing so would, I don't know, I guess he thinks it moves some sort of goalpost or something, and you're focusing on the wrong things in the event that you don't, in the event that you focus on what he feels or how he feels about packing the court, which is such a bizarre thing. And it really goes to show how they feel about, or more so how Democrats and how Joe Biden, how they feel about the people that generally support them, because you do not deserve, or you didn't at first deserve to know what their opinions are or what his position is. I think he actually said that almost in literal terms, that you didn't deserve to know what his position was on packing the courts. Don't worry, though, Joe Biden. Everybody's favorite Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has you covered. She has you covered. Don't even worry about it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Almost immediately, guys, after the confirmation, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, everybody's new favorite Twitch streamer, if you will, says, and I quote 3 words for my listeners that are not watching this: expand the court. This is at 7:13 p.m. I don't even think she was officially sworn in at that time by then yet. Not yet. If it happened, she may have tweeted that while it was happening. Right? But she says 3 words: expand the court. Now, what on earth could that mean? Why would she say that? Well, guys, of course I have to give you my libertarian lecture. That's what it's all about, right? This is about power, and it's always been about power. It's always been about power. It was never not about power. This is why Joe Biden refused to answer the question, because really a lot of that was to be determined, right? If somehow they were able to prevent ACB from being confirmed, if they could have prevented that, then the packing of the court thing or expanding of the court, that doesn't have to happen. Not at all. We don't even have to have that conversation then. And this is why they held it off. It wasn't until, they couldn't get any votes to go the other way, as to be expected, and she was confirmed. So now they're immediately talking about AOC expanding the court immediately, because it's about power. That's what it was always about. It was never about your beloved Constitution. It was never about caring about the constituents. It was never about caring about the supporters. It was always about power. Honoring the legacy of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. None of that had anything to do with anything. What this was about was power. Because how it works is that they look at it as, okay, well, this sways the court to the side of the progressives, or the side of the conservatives. Now, I would actually refute that, but that's for another show. But that's what they are. That's the way they look at it. They look at it as, well, you are giving to the power, the Supreme Court, the power of it, which wasn't supposed to be anything, but you are giving the power to the conservatives. So in order to balance that power, because you now have too many of the people that you wanted to get in there, you have too many of them, we now have to expand it so we'll get one of our guys in there. And obviously that only applies, make no mistake, if Joe Biden wins the presidency. If Joe Biden wins the presidency, I want you to understand that what ocasio-cortez, what she is saying goes completely out of the window. Y'all do understand that, right? It goes completely out of the window. The whole expanding of the court, if Trump won, that's not what they want. That only applies if Joe Biden is an asterisk. You can't really see it, right? I can't see it either. But we just assume that it's there. This only applies if Joe Biden wins. Because if Trump wins, you don't want to add yet another judge or conservative judge. You don't want that. No, of course, that only applies in the event that Joe Biden wins the presidency, because it's about power. Now, we can sit up here and have a long conversation about what the intention of the Supreme Court was or is, or what it was supposed to be, how it was supposed to be structured, how it was not supposed to have as much power as it has. I think we've had that conversation many, many, many times before here, as well as on the News of Why It Matters. We've had that conversation. But let's talk about this a little bit more in detail, about the power itself and how the structure is, and how, if anything, this would, and I'd imagine, it would show you guys that trusting, or rather giving, the power to a entity of unelected people, especially, well, whether if they were elected or unelected doesn't even really matter in that sense. The goal should, as it pertains to power, be that the power is not theirs to have. Cases shouldn't be making it to the Supreme Court. It shouldn't be up for dispute. But this is the ever-growing, the FDRs of the world, the ever-growing power over the last century of the Supreme Court has put a lot of stake into who actually serve, elected or not. It does, again, that's not necessarily important. Of course, for those of you that love the term or phrase democracy, you don't like it because, well, you'd had nothing to do with it, unless you consider, well, voting for the president gets to do this, because he is president for 4 years, not 3. But what if we thought about it in a way of, well, how about we reel back to power? How about we have that discussion instead of talking about expanding of the courts or wearing so much? It goes back with that. We have this conversation about the presidency and the executive actions and the executive orders. When Obama passes this, and this, it's okay. When Trump passes it, it's a threat. He has too much power. He's a dictator. And you, depending on who you ask, those positions can be switched. So I would always look at power like this. No matter who it is that you are, no matter who it is that you support, whether you're a Trump supporter, Biden supporter, non-supporter like I am, of any of those clowns, look at it like this. If that power got into the wrong hands, how much damage could they do? How much damage could they do? I would make the argument that should be your approach when we discuss politics, when we discuss government, and when we discuss who fills these positions of power. If you freak out at the idea of the wrong person getting the power, maybe it shouldn't be there. But when it comes to the AOCs of the world, when it comes to these Democrats, these progressives, I don't give a damn what they present themselves as, caring about the populace or anything like that. These are power-hungry authoritarians, okay? And right now they're having a tug-of-war match with the Republicans with power. And it's power that they want to have. They want to be able to funnel things to these courts. They want to be able to get these things. Obviously, when the Supreme Court makes some sort of ruling, that precedent is set, and it's always going back to in the event that there are future cases. So it's almost the law of the land once the Supreme Court makes some sort of ruling on it. We're still referring to these things and these Supreme Court cases that happened decades ago because that's how important it is. However, what if the power wasn't theirs? And that's one thing that I would argue the Republicans don't give a damn about, and certainly the progressives are showing you they don't care about. What they want is the power to do whatever stuff that they want to do, whatever it is that they want to do. Maybe the power shouldn't exist. That's all I'm saying.